Today's guest is an entrepreneur and the founder of Marketing Boost. Over the past 23 years, he has helped more than 15,000 people grow their businesses and delivered more than $1 billion in new sales. Today, he's going to share with you new insights, ideas, and information to attract new customers. Would you please help welcome our good friend, Marco Torres? Welcome. My friend, welcome.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for that opening, and I appreciate the audience activity there.
Well, mate, you know what happens in a live room today.
Yeah.
They're active 24 hours a day. Now, we started our sales journey in a very similar situation. My uncle owned a news agency, and it was called O'Brien's News Agency. So he brought me in after school to sell newspapers, and I had my own experience of being a paperboy. But I also understand that you were a paperboy in Puerto Rico. What did you learn about yourself and the experience of being a paperboy?
You know, thanks for that question. It took me back. I only recently even remembered that I had a paper route. It's been out of my mind for years, but I was going through my dad's old paper, stuff in his garage as I was selling my mom's house. And I found this folder he had with my name on it, and opened it up, and there was an article, because I was featured on the front page of the newspaper at the time for having built the biggest paper route they'd ever seen by the age of 12. And I started at 9. And the question, I guess, is what did I learn from it? Well, several things, actually. Early on, I found leveraging, and I didn't realize it at the time, but leveraging relationships early. I had some friends help me, deliver the route. I built it so big, I needed help in the delivery of the papers. And so I had some friends that would help me, meet me in the morning early. We had to meet down there at 5 a.m. and unpack the papers and put them in our satchels and go deliver. But I focused on sales and collections. Back then, you had to knock on doors, you had to sell the subscription, and then you had to go back and collect the money to get paid for the paper. There was no internet and there was no online bill pay many, many moons ago. So then my dad taught me about spreadsheets, because I had to keep records of, who owes me what and how far they were up to date, and if they were, behind on their payments, and who to cut off because they haven't paid me in 4 weeks or whatever. And so there was a real business learning of how to operate a business with the paper route, the subscription model, which I still run today now with subscription models. Which is what one of the companies I focus on today. So it was a real business entrepreneurial experience. By the time I was 23, I owned 5 restaurants and a nightclub with my older brother and my mom. And then I went on to be in the corporate world. You were mentioning before the call went live that a lot of your listeners are in the corporate world and looking to bounce into owning their own. And I did the corporate world thing after I sold our businesses, the restaurants that I had in my nightclub. I got into the corporate world and was very successful there. I went all the way up to VP of a big division. I had over 2,000 employees that worked for me from the year 2000 to 2008, 2,000 staff members. 4 call centers around the country that I was feeding leads for, and we built a machine from internet marketing. At the time, I became an expert at internet marketing in the very early days. Started doing online marketing in the mid '90s, but we ended up, when I got hired for that role, I sold the management on hiring me. I said, I will generate you $200 million a year in sales from the internet. And it blew their minds, and I ended up doing exactly that. So for several years in a row, we did over $200 million a year and grow and more, and literally generated over about $1 billion in sales between 2002 and 2007. So
it's an incredible achievement. Talking about the newspaper route, one of the things that I had as an experience was excuses. I would go and knock on people's doors and I'd say, would you like to buy a newspaper? And they'd say, I don't have the money. I'd knock on the next door and they'd say, I don't have the time. Other people would say, could you come back tomorrow? And I was always thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way to incentivize people to buy now. But at that stage, I only had my newspapers, and it was kind of the old buy or die method. You buy or you die. And in my mind, after my first day, 80% of the people in my town didn't like me because they rejected me, and I was never going to talk to them ever again. But then the next day they purchased. These buying behaviours. Now, in today's business world, you've been generating $200 million a year in sales. You delivered over $1 billion of sales to the business from 2000 to 2008. In terms of small businesses, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing in today's market, and how are you helping your customers overcome that challenge?
Well, let's see. In today's world, one of the things that I find very interesting is that it's probably easier today than ever to break into the entrepreneur world. When I was involved early on in internet marketing, I mean, it was a big learning curve. There were no tools. There were no you had, if you were going to build a website, you had to learn HTML coding. There was no so many tools we have today. You can build a website in 20 minutes. There's sales funnels, and there's all these funnel building websites, and there's so much technology available for CRM platforms and communication via email, text message, voicemail broadcasting. There's just so much available and so affordable for platforms to bring your idea to life and test your market, test your products, and start a business. And then if that doesn't work, test something different, because there's really so many different opportunities online today that there weren't before. And it's so much easier in many ways, it's easier. In many ways, it's more challenging too, because obviously there's a heck of a lot more competition, and how do you stand out from the crowd? And how do you compete in such a crowded space? And that's one of the areas that we focus on with Marketing Boost, is we teach people how to stand out from the crowd, how to hold their price, because it's such a crowded space, and no matter what industry or what niche you're in, if you don't have a lot of competitors, you're probably in too small a niche, and you're trying to reinvent something that nobody wants. So if you're can
you just go back to that point there? Very, very important point. A lot of people go into these marketplaces and they assume that nobody else is in here, but oftentimes there's a reason why people aren't in there. And can you go back about this reinvention? Because I notice a lot of people are trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have competitors, if you think if your idea is so unique and so new that nobody else is doing it yet, well, caution, because it's hard to, those are like the big red flags, really. If you're going to try to, really start with something that no one's heard of yet, or you have very little competitors in it, it's tough to find that unique niche of people that want that product or service. So you're likely, it's going to be very difficult. So it's actually a good thing, in my opinion, if you're in a world with plenty of competitors, because then it's a matter of, okay, now you just have to figure out how to stand out and how to deliver your product or service better than others. Not necessarily, don't take the road of trying to do it cheaper than everybody else. That's one of the big mistakes many entrepreneurs make, is they'll say, well, I'll offer I'll do the same as everybody else, but I'll be the cheapest. Which means you're always discounting, and then sooner or later somebody will come around and go and underprice you, and now you're on a race to the bottom. And every time you drop your a few points here and there on the percentages of your discounting, you're giving up your bottom line profits. And before you know it, I mean, a 10% discount, depending upon your profit margin, might require you to double sales from one day to the other with that discount, just to be back in the same place you were before.
10% discount might mean you might have to double the sales. That's Absolutely. Dangerous territory.
Yeah, I mean, let's suppose you had a $100 product, or your average sale is $100, and with your between cost of sales and marketing and commissions and payroll and whatever else you've got going on, let's say you have a net of 20% profit after everything is said and done. So if you discount 10%, you just gave up 50% of your net profit. So to end up at the same place you were the day before, you'll need to sell $200 worth of product to end up with that same 20%, same $10 you were taking home if you were discounting by 10%. So that 10% discount could require you to do double the sales to end up in the same spot. And that can be difficult, obviously. So if you're running a promotion with a discounted, you need to decide, am I really going to double or triple sales or what have you for that discount to be worthwhile? Otherwise, you should skip it, and do something other than discounting, which we'll talk about as we go along here.
No wonder my mum hated discounting. She had a haberdashery shop, and she was working in the 1970s, 1980s, and some of these big discounters came in. And they would open these big discount warehouses, and they could drop the price. And the only thing that a lot of people felt they could do was to fight them with that discount wars. But it was a disaster. All the small operators went out of business, and these big operators could sustain it for a longer period of time. And so once my mum got out of that business, we owned a pawnbroking business. So we were buying and selling second-hand goods, lending money. And I remember there was a policy in our business: no haggle, no hassle. So we would put a price on there, and that was it. That was our bottom line. We wouldn't negotiate. But there has to be an element of negotiation, because some cultures really need to go through the process of negotiating. And if there's no way to negotiate, oftentimes somebody would walk out and say, well, I don't need it today. I'll come back in the future. So you might have bills to pay today. You might not hit your sales target, and then you have a shortfall. So in our background, I felt that whenever we discounted a product, I was devaluing myself. And I didn't like the feeling of devaluing myself. And I think that came from the culture we had created. But there's other ways to negotiate on price, such as incentives. What are you doing in the field of incentives to take that pain away from people, but also being able to get them to make a sale today and to pay their bills now?
And that is the business that I focus on today. And we created a subscription model, back to the newspaper subscriptions. But we have a subscription model today, which totally revolutionized the travel incentive business that I'm in. So we provide travel incentives, a company called marketingboost.com. And in here, we provide business owners around the world. We're global now. So we have clients literally throughout Asia, throughout Australia, throughout all over the United States, Canada, Europe. But we provide travel incentives that can be used to add value to whatever your offering is, and instead of discounting. And that's one of the things we teach a lot, is exactly how to add. We find they work with nearly any industry, any niche, to help add that value in a number of different ways, which I'd love to cover here. But so what are these travel incentives that we offer? There's three different categories. One is complimentary hotel stays that we offer in about 130 destinations around the world. We offer from 3-night stays in places all over the U.S., like Las Vegas, Orlando, San Diego, New York, etc., Miami. 5-night stays in places like Cancun, Cabo San Lucas, Punta Cana, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. 5 nights in Hawaii. We offer 7-night stays in places like Phuket, Thailand, and Bali. We have 3-night stays all over Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe, and Singapore, and many other Asian countries as well. And so the idea being here, and we created a win-win-win. What we did is we helped hotels fill rooms that would have otherwise gone empty. So we've negotiated. I've been in the travel business since the late 90s rather, and when I did that $2 billion in sales, it was all travel related. So I've taken that experience now and bounced into our own business in about 2010. So what we did was, because we were a high volume travel business, we negotiated with hotel partners around the world to say, look, we know you've got a problem, and we think we can help you solve it, and that's filling rooms that would have otherwise gone empty. I mean, these hotels, nearly all of them around the world, they're never full year round. They're full on certain weekends. They're full for peak seasons, special events, holidays. But 70% of the year, at least 30% of their rooms are going empty. Mm-hmm. And that's the most expensive room for that hotel, because they still have the same fixed costs, whether those rooms are full or not. They've got the front desk staff, they've got cleaning crews, they've got maintenance crews, they got a mortgage to pay, they got light bills to pay, and all that stuff. So when someone stays in that room, it doesn't add that much more cost to the mix. And we convinced them that if they would give us their rooms for either next to nothing or on these off-peak seasons, could put warm bodies in those rooms that would spend money at the restaurant, the spa, the casino, the bar, the gift shop, the excursion desk, the booking additional nights, upgrade room types. They might, you know, book additional, come back in the future. And so we were solving a problem we had for ourselves, which I'll tell that story later. But we went out and found these hotel partners that would participate for us to help fill their rooms. And little by little, we grew it into what it's called marketingboost.com today, where we have these hundreds of hotels that we work with and 125 destinations around the world. And it's a win for the resorts because they're getting warm bodies in those rooms that are spending money on the property. It's a win for the Marketing Boost member because they have access to these very high value perceived free vacations to give away with whatever, or free holiday hotel stays to add to whatever their call to action is. And it's a win for the consumer who receives the incentive because now they're traveling for next to nothing, staying at a hotel and not paying for the room rate other than paying for, their own food and beverage. They don't include airfare, of course. They don't include food and beverage, and they don't include the government taxes and fees. So that's all they're really paying for. In most cases, our members allow the client, the end user, to pay that activation fee, which covers the taxes and fees. Then we also have hotel savings cards, and we have restaurant savings vouchers. So those are the three categories of incentives that we provide our members to be able to give away as many as they want with a one fixed subscription cost, which is another thing that totally makes us stand out from any other. We're not the first to offer travel incentives. There's been others doing it for decades, but we totally reinvented it, and we made it a win-win-win for everybody. We made them easy to use. No sales presentations or timeshare presentations that anybody needs to listen to during their free stay. No hoops to jump through, no phone calls to make, just online booking, get instant gratification, and on their way to travel for pennies on the dollar.
Well, that'd make my mother happy because she doesn't have to sit through another presentation.
Yeah, it was pretty popular in the Canary Islands and what have you. Where are you from, Daniel?
Mate, I like this idea, and I've been selling for years, and I know a lot of people who I work with. We are in the service field, so we're selling an invisible, we're selling an intangible. And I can see that this service can bring that tangible aspect to something that's intangible. And I think there's a lot of competition in the marketplace. It would be foolish to say I have no competition. It's like as a coach today, I've got more competition today than I ever had in the past. You can watch a video on YouTube. It's considered coaching. You can read the world's top-selling book for $15. That's my competition. I just don't have local competition, but I've also got competition in every destination in the world that's offering something similar. Even for me, a local tarot reader is my competition today because we're both offering advice about the future. So we've got to be able to think, how can I have an incentive to help my client make that decision to buy today from me so I can serve them and for them to have a big win? Because our incomes go up 2 to 3% every year, but the cost of living goes up 6 to 7%. So we have to incentivize and encourage them and reward them for taking action. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity. So what's kind of the typical experience? So say for a service-based business like myself, I'm offering education and I add this into my business. How does it change my business? What does my business now look like once I start to offer this incentive to my customer?
Well, for one, just to disclaimer a little bit here, we're not the magic bullet that's going to solve all your sales problems. But if you've already got an existing product or service that you're marketing, you're selling, and you're selling it successfully, adding incentives can be a game changer, however, to help you accomplish some of those steps. Or, for example, in your case, are you getting Zoom appointments? Are you talking to people on, virtual Zoom calls or something like that in order to see if it's a good fit and offer them your service?
What we do is we do individual appointments, one-to-one, and then we also sell from stage on large scale. So it could be 50 to 500 people at a time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's very, very, very cool. Well, one of the challenges that most business, I don't have it. Well, for example, from stage, you're doing a stage presentation and you're like, hey, for those of you who take advantage right now, go to the back of the room, and grab your application to see if you qualify to work with us and so on and so forth. You might throw in the incentive right there. The first 10 people at the back of the room right now are going to be eligible to get a 4-day, 3-night stay at a destination that's only maybe a couple of 100-mile drive away. So they can visualize themselves using that, quick getaway, a 3-night stay somewhere close by. And so you might say, the first 20 to the back of the room to get back there first are going to get a complimentary hotel stay. Or maybe you don't make it that exaggerated. You say the first 20 to the back of the room are going to get a $200 hotel savings card, good at over 1 million hotels worldwide. So get to the back if you're interested. The first 20 of you are going to get a $200 hotel savings card just for, grabbing your application first. And then of course, maybe you're bringing those people into one-on-one calls to now sit them down on actually making the payment and so on. And that's when you might throw in the bigger incentive. So now you might say, oh, by the way, we are running a special promotion this week. And of course, this can be done from stage as well. But you might be saying, all right, so if you take advantage before the end of this show, or we're here live on stage until 5 p.m. So if you put your credit card down in the back of the room and sign up for this program, you're going to get a bonus trip of 5 nights accommodations in one of these following destinations, 7 nights in Phuket, Thailand or something. And we're, of course, and then throw in the disclaimers. Of course, airfare is not included, of course, neither is food and beverage or the government taxes and fees. But we're going to give you the complimentary hotel stay if you pull the trigger and sign up for our service today. So you're adding value to your whatever that package that you're selling is. Rather than saying, if you go to the back of the room today, it's normally $30,000, but today, if you buy it before the end of the show, it's $28,500, or we're going to make it $25,000. You'll save $5,000 if you take action today. So instead of discounting the price, or ideally, you're not just you're saying you're throwing in that $1,500 additional value of the hotel stay, for example. Or if you are doing a discount anyway, then it's just one more added value. So when you take action today, you do save X amount of money, but you also get this bonus and this bonus and this bonus. And so I'm sure you're familiar with that. You can create your own incentives that are related to your product, right? When you buy our coaching course, you get our this book and this book, and you're going to get 4 extra coaching sessions, and you're going to get the 13th month free, because this is a 12-month program, but you're going to get the 13th month of coaching free if you pay it full in advance, and that type of added value that you can create of your own products or services. So I'm a believer in creating incentives yourself from your own product or services, or maybe even from partners. Who do you know and that has a similar product or service that you can say, look, if you're, when you hire me for 6 months, you're also getting my partner over here is going to provide you a month of coaching as well, free. So you're going to include somebody else into your program, and they're going to do the same for you. So now you're being introduced to possibly you're adding value by bringing in, somebody else's coaching product or service, or somebody else's book or what have you. And now you're working hand in hand with somebody else who might be a good added value, plus the marketing boost incentives that obviously am biased to pitch, because that's what we offer. And I can tell you this much, Daniel, travel right now, I've never seen usage of it. There's a pent up worldwide demand for travel. I call it revenge travel. So regardless of the industry you're in, the travel incentives can be plugged in. If you have a little bit of creativity at all, you can plug these travel incentives in with your call to action. And just to be clear what I'm talking about, it really breaks down to one of 2 ways to add these incentives to your offers. You either, if you inquire, you get, so you might say, book an appointment. Let's book a 15-minute, no obligation consultation call, or live in-person, talk. And just for us meeting, whether you get involved, whether we do business together or not, I'm going to reward you. We think your time is really valuable. We think our time is super valuable as well. So if you'll show up on time for that appointment, then we're going to reward you with a $100 hotel savings card just for showing up. And then once you've got that call, your staff is on that Zoom call, or that's your sales appointment. Now, when you got them on that sales presentation that you made, at the end of that, your call to action, now you might add the bigger complimentary hotel stay incentives with the call to action of actually purchasing your product. So it can be a way to get more appointments booked. So again, inquire and you get, or it might be purchase and you get, or purchase product. People buy, you have a tripwire product, an entry level product, something that people, can, and we call it tripwire because they can trip over it and buy your entry level product price, your ebook that you bought, sold for $9.95, whatever it might be. So you have a tripwire product, and then you say, okay, now they're a customer, they bought something. So now if you buy product B to go with product A, that's your next step in the sales, in the sales ladder, in the value ladder. Buy product B to go with product A, and we'll bonus on top of that. When you buy product B, you're going to get this, and be entered to win a 5-night stay in Cancun, or you're going to actually get a 5-night stay in Cancun with your package. And I've got everybody from photographers using this, insurance agents, realtors, multi-level marketers, home improvement companies, any kind of direct sales companies are using this. I mean, everything from lemonade stands up in New York using these incentives for, I don't know exactly how they're using them, to car dealerships in Chicago that are using the incentives to get you to come in and test drive a car. So they're doing direct mail saying, you just for test driving the car, buy a car or don't, we're going to give you a complimentary hotel stay in one of these destinations. So
it's incredible.
So there's just all these different ways of skinning that cat to get folks to take whatever action you're asking them to take.
So for those people who are thinking, hey, this could really work in my business, whether it be at the start for the inquiry or an incentivization to buy today or even to buy again, and you can keep scaling up the offer, what can we learn from marketingboost.com, and where should we start on the website?
Well, that's a great question. If you go to the website, marketingboost.com, one of the places to go is the case studies. So before let me see if I can get over here, back to the site myself. Case studies there on the website, right up on the top left corner, right next to the logo, is an entire section here of examples from various different industries of some of the people that have, just killed it, making tens of thousands of additional dollars in revenue. And this is just some of the ones that I've actually done live video webinars to our members, showing how these folks have killed it. I'll give you an example. One of them here that gets attention. He made over $1 million in additional sales. A gentleman named Brett Jones here from New Vision Auto Glass. So here's a company that sells that replacement windshields for your vehicles, for your car, and the rock breaks it or what have you. And it's a very competitive industry. They've got all kinds of companies. A lot of them, spend big money on TV advertising to get people to, call them when their windshield gets cracked or broken. And in the U.S. anyway, insurance companies pay for the windshield, so there's usually no out-of-pocket money or cost to the car owner. But because of that, that's how competitive it is. They have to actually give cash rebates to the client to select them to use their company versus somebody else. So what he did was, when he found Marketing Boost, is he trained his installers they would continue to use the cash rebate to grab attention, their draw card, to get people in calling them to replace their windshield and offering them $150 cash back after the windshield was installed. But then when the installer he'd come out and show them a nice fancy printed brochure about the holiday stay, the complimentary hotel stays that they could offer through Marketing Boost. And they would show the client, hey, instead of giving you $150 cash back, we've got this other promotion going right now. I can give you 5 nights in Cancun, Mexico at a AAA rated 4 diamond hotel on the ocean with 15 bars and restaurants, a $1,200 value. So if you'll, if you'd like, you could take the vacation or the $150 cash. What's more attractive to you? And they would get the majority of the people to go ahead and take the vacation incentive. And they literally, instead of handing out $150 checks to people, they were keeping that cash, giving them the incentive that cost them next to nothing with Marketing Boost. And they were pocketed over $1 million in additional revenue or cash they kept in-house instead of giving them back the cash rebates. So that was you can imagine how that might be used in a million different ways. We've got insurance agents and direct sales guys. It was another unique way that you can see here, a gentleman named Javier Rodriguez. He has taught many of our members to lead by giving. And what they do, and he's in the insurance and mortgage industry, real estate industry, and he teaches his hundreds of staff members and salespeople that work for him to lead by giving. And what they do is they work with local nonprofits. They work with local nonprofits all over the country and fund and help them do fundraising drives by providing them with the travel incentives, the complimentary hotel stays, and they let the fundraisers, auction them off or do raffle tickets to sell to win the certificates, and they get to position themselves as the philanthropist, as the authority that can afford to donate all these complimentary hotel stays to their fundraising drive. They let them keep, and all the money donated goes directly to the nonprofits. They don't want to touch it. But by doing that, all they ask in return is they say, hey, we just want to be able to, the day of the event, we want to be there. We want to sponsor. We'll let everybody know we're the sponsor of the event. We just want to tell a quick elevator pitch about what we do. We're the experts in the financial community. If insurance needs, if you needed this, that, or the other, we're the realty experts, we're the mortgage brokers, whatever they are. And that way they can, they're rubbing shoulders with philanthropists and what have you, and they're generating phenomenal leads, especially to everybody who won the certificates or won the auctions. They're hand delivering those, and they're getting a chance to talk to these people about their product and service. And they have more leads than they know what to do with. They've literally made, over the years with Javier, he's been with us since we started, which was in 2017 that we launched this business. And he's generated millions of additional dollars in revenue with his huge organization that he's built of insurance agents. And again, that would work for multi-level marketers. Let's say you're starting a multi-level marketing business. I mean, you could be using these incentives to get people to show up for the business opportunity meetings, or to come to an online webinar, just to register for the webinar and get a chance to win, and stick to the end of the phone call and get a chance to win. So and then in our Facebook group, we have over 28,000 entrepreneurs in our Facebook group. And so that's where we're sharing ideas. We're doing these, online webinars. We're teaching our members for no additional fee. It's free, how to use these incentives, how to position the incentives, how to plug in the disclaimers, like I mentioned before. What is the basic disclaimer? Airfare is not included, food and beverage is not included, and neither is the government taxes and fees. And so most of our members let the client pay those taxes. But if you chose to, you could pay it yourself. So if you have a high ticket item, if you're selling that $25,000, $30,000 coaching program or what have you, and you're making enough profit on it, you could say, hey, I want to give somebody a truly complimentary hotel stay. I don't want them to be bothered by that activation fee, which, by the way, runs about $30 a night. So 30 to max. Hawaii's the most expensive. It's probably $60 a night, but they mostly average around $30, and that covers the government taxes and fees that need to be paid. And then the client's got 18 months to log on to a website to look at the participating hotels, the dates that are available. Book, they put in the dates they want. They'll see what's available. They can book it, get instant confirmation and gratification. But forgot where I was going with that. is the
I like that instant gratification, the confirmation and the instant gratification. I think that is so important to incentivize people to take action now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't come back next month. If you want it, here's a bonus. Take it now. Get that dopamine hit.
Right. It helps
Instant
create
confirmation
that
and gratification.
scarcity and urgency. And that's the other thing we teach is, even though you, as a Marketing Boost member, you could give these away like candy if you want, but it devalues, it lowers the value of the perceived value of the high ticket item, 5 nights hotel stay in Phuket or whatever it might be. So we recommend that you create scarcity and urgency in the offers so that so there's a reason to take action today, as you're saying. You might say, look, if you take advantage of it, if you pull the trigger today, here's the bonus offer. And of course, we have a limited number of these. So we're offering these to the first, 10 sales this week or this month, or something to create that scarcity and urgency to take action right away. And if you do, this is one of the rewards that you're going to get. So.
And that's what I want you to do now, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to head over to marketingboost.com and I want you to learn about it for your operations. Maybe you're starting your business and you want something to incentivize people to buy, because when you start your business, you have even more competition because you're new in the market. You haven't developed the trust in the marketplace yet. So you've got to incentivize people to take action. Or maybe you've gone into that decline phase because of COVID and the pandemic, and you've got to get yourself out of that decline phase and back into the growth phase. And you've got to learn new ways and re-incentivize your clients to take action. So I want you to head over to marketingboost.com right now. And Marco, any final words of wisdom about growing a business with incentivization?
Another quick thing. This whole business was launched on an idea that we needed to fulfill. We needed video reviews. We had a big travel website that was growing really well, but we wanted video testimonials. And so we came up with an idea to offer an incentive if people would go the extra mile and film a selfie testimonial from the resort, the beach, the pool, the bar, what have you. And eventually that turned into this business because now we have over 30,000 video testimonials from happy travelers on that one website we launched early on, more than any other travel site in the world. And any business out there could use more video reviews, testimonials of all kinds, written or video. You need that social proof. And using incentives to ask people to, if you don't solicit those reviews, you won't get them. You're only going to get the negative reviews. So what we did about it, just a quick thing here, anybody can use this. Do a survey with your clients. When you think they should be at their happiest, after they're, been with you for X period, they're at their peak of happiness, ask them how are we living up to our product or service? How are you liking our service? If they're thrilled, ask them to give you a review. Make it easy. Send them the links where you want the reviews posted: TripAdvisor, Trustpilot, Zitejabber, your website, Facebook, whatever you want them, and you'll be generating reviews, and you can reward them with incentives if you'd like as well. But that's a key factor. We all need more reviews. It'll help any business, and one of the ways to do that is to offer an incentive.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, head over to marketingboost.com today and learn more about it. Marco, thank you so much for sharing your years of experience from being a paperboy to generating billions of dollars and now helping tens of thousands of people grow their businesses. We really appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, one new idea at the right time is enough to change your life. So pull the trigger, go to marketingboost.com today and learn more about it. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. Marco, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Wow, what a great